Bankruptcy is a topic that we are going to discuss today. There's a TikTok video that I found. Some people try to justify just go bankrupt and start over, but it's not that easy. I personally went bankrupt at the age of 29. I'm 33 now. I'm going to talk about it, if it's good or bad, or why it's a good choice and why it's not a good choice, and where I'm at now. But let's watch this TikTok video.
I am 22 years old and I am in $91,300 worth of debt, and I am filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy today.
Okay, I wouldn't be smiling saying that you're going bankrupt, I just, if your attorney or the court, or your agent can see this.
I am filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy today. I've had such a bad financial burden the last couple years, so after meeting with an attorney and doing lots of research, I realized that filing bankruptcy really isn't as bad as it's made out to be, and it was truly going to be my best bet. I decided to file Chapter 7, and truthfully, my consumer debt really is not that bad. A lot of people have it a lot worse financially, but for me, $91,000 was just too much. It was uncomfortable, and I just wanted to get a fresh start. I moved to Texas directly after high school, and I made a lot of very irresponsible decisions financially and really dug myself into a big hole of debt. I decided, let's go ahead and file bankruptcy. Let's give myself a clean slate. That way I can stop stressing and I can actually do better. Okay, just to give you a little breakdown of the debt that I do have that totals up to the $91,300. I owe about $51,000 on the vehicle that I have. We did try selling that, trading it in, all that good stuff, but I have way too much negative equity to come out on top. I bought a motorcycle back in 2022. Thought that was a great idea. I owe $5,000 still on that. Same thing. Tried selling it, not able to get what we owe out of it. I do own a camper, and I owe about $13,400 on that. However, I live out of that camper because I can't afford a house. So I am keeping that since I do live in it. I have $2,200 worth of medical bills that I had no idea were in collections. And then I have $12,000 worth of student loans. However, those do not get forgiven with bankruptcy, so I will still continue that payment. And then I have about $7,700 worth of credit card debt, all coming into a grand total of $91,300. So after meeting with an attorney, she decided filing Chapter 7 is going to be my best bet. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. Since I was referred to her from somebody that is currently filing bankruptcy with her, she did cut me a discount. So my bankruptcy is only going to cost me about $1,100. So I've already paid all of those fees to her. I did a free consultation with her. And then after I decided to go ahead and file, I paid a deposit and I received a workbook. I went ahead and filled that workbook out and everything. And it just pretty much, it needed all my information, my income, all my belongings and stuff like that I have. And then I listed all of my creditors as well. So thankfully you are able to actually pick and choose what you do file on whenever it comes to bankruptcies. I did decide to surrender the truck, and then I am surrendering the motorcycle as well. I am keeping my camper, and I will have to keep my student loans, but otherwise everything's gonna be wiped clean. So we're gonna go ahead and go in, we're gonna sign a little bit of paperwork, get everything finalized so she can actually file that. So let's go.
Okay, I understand if you have one vehicle to get you to work, but if you have a car that's already very expensive, you pay $50,000 and you're trying to sell it and you're still not getting your money back, because that's how it is with all vehicles, and you have a motorcycle, and then you move to Texas for some reason, which I have some questions, which is none of my business, but if you move to Texas to live in a camper van, I have some questions. And another thing is $91,000 in debt. That's a lot of debt. So I personally, when I went bankrupt with $67,000 in debt. About half of that, more than half of that, $45,000 was consumer credit card debt. Is it a good choice or a bad choice? If you're young and you're 20 and it's a tough one. It's a tough one because it doesn't fit. It's not one answer for everybody. It's not the same answer for everybody. But in my case, I was 29. I have built up a career in my landscaping business where I make enough money that I'm going bankrupt, but not because I wasn't making enough money, but because I was making money and I was paying off my cards while trying to be disciplined now because I had so much debt, but I couldn't get ahead after a year and a half. So, let me give you an example. My credit card payments were about $1,200 a month. So I was sending $1,500 a month on just one credit card because I consolidated a lot of credit card debt. So I wasn't making it budge. And then I had a Corvette, a really nice Corvette that I was able to keep, but I sold it off. But another thing is that so I had about 2,500 on just one car and credit card debt. And as soon as that debt got wiped out, my business kind of grew. So I was able to save about $3,000 to almost $4,000 a month. And since then, that's just history. My business boomed. I got new credit. After 2 years, I got VentureX credit card. I got a VentureX credit card with $30,000 on a credit limit. But I became disciplined. If you go bankrupt at 22 and you're not disciplined, you're about to get yourself in big trouble, because you can only do this every 7-10 years, and then it takes a big impact. You can't get good rates anymore on your car loans for a while, or on a mortgage or a house. But who's gonna get a house nowadays like right away? You gotta really save for that. But it was a good choice for me in a way. Yeah, it sucks because now I'm paying 20% on this car, 20 something percent, which is a lot. But I bring in about 5, 6, 7,000, whatever the amount is. I could pay this off. If I had no rent, I could probably pay it off in 4 months. So it depends. If you're broke because you're not making enough money, or you're struggling, you're part-time, and you go bankrupt, and you don't have good discipline with your spending, you don't budget, you don't do this and that, then you're going to be in a whole lot of trouble. So every case scenario is different for everybody. Every case is different. Every case is different. So I just encourage you guys, keep your budget on. Keep your eyes on your budgets. Don't go overspending on those little purchases that add up. And pay off some debt. Pay off some debt.